All right, it's the game is the game. NBA live stream of consciousness. Thank you for supporting. I'm very humbled by the total number of people who are watching the video. Definitely leave me a comment. I follow up with all the comments. Once again, thank you for the love. I truly appreciate it. It's been overwhelming, and I'm just getting started with this, but I'm definitely going to be putting out content every day. Like I said, I'm gonna be dropping at least two of those videos a week. Thanks for my man who corrected me on my English and there, and theirs. I know the difference between the two, and my English teacher would be ashamed. I don't know where I used it wrong, but my man corrected me. So, but let's go ahead and get into the NBA. Um, no Ben Simmons. The trade hasn't been completed yet. It'll be interesting to see when Ben Simmons arrives for the Nets. No Harden tonight. The Sixers, I believe, play the Cavs here in a minute, actually. So that's a big game as far as standings in the East. I think with the depth that is in the Eastern Conference this year, home court advantage is just going to be so important. So I think after All-Star break, I think it's just going to be gangbusters as far as the play on the court. Um, I saw here Frank Vogel said that he believes in this group. I think the Lakers season is salvageable. I do definitely think the Lakers season is salvageable. I think that there's three moves that the Lakers can make to make the season salvageable. I can break this down in a video, but I'll just talk about it briefly. I think one, LeBron has to get on the horn with his fellow clutch mate and John Wall and say, listen, fam, it's time to ask for a buyout. John Wall is 31 years old. At the end of his contract, he's going to be 32. He's going to have 3 years of not playing basketball. And I just don't think that's good for his resume. I think the best thing that he can do is come to a team like the Lakers where he's needed and ball out and get started on his new contract as soon as possible. They'll leave $10 million off the table. I'm sure the Houston owner is willing to do that, to clear the cap space, leave $10 million off the table. And it's interesting that a lot of the guys who complain about this player empowerment era are not complaining about the fact that Houston has pretty much told him, go home, we don't want to play you. Once again, there's just a lack of conversation about how this isn't a two-way street. How Houston has told him, pretty much traded for his contract and said, you know what, we want to play young guys, go home. Detroit did the same thing with Josh Smith. We want to play young guys. You don't fit what we're going to do. We're going to waive you, go home. It's a two-way street, and the owner's way, the team's way in college football, they can do things and change things all the time. And hey, it's just a sign of the times. But, as soon as the workforce gets them to do it, there's a problem with it. And I think people need to look at it that way. But I think one, John Wall needs to ask for a buyout. I think he will be big for them. Two, Gary Harris. If they can get him, I was just looking at his numbers today, averaging almost 12 points, shooting 39% from the 3-point line. Hellacious defender. I mentioned his work that he did on Paul George in the Clipper series that they won. Surprisingly, I thought he was a key cog in that. I thought he was a key cog in them beating Utah, his work on Donovan Mitchell in Game 6 and Game 7. So if they can bring those two players into the fold, maybe get another buyout guy with some length. I was just watching the Portland game. I'm surprised they didn't go after like a Justice Winslow. I think he could have helped them, play dividends for them, maybe offer 2 second-round picks, none for Winslow and McLemore. I would have tried to do something like that to get somebody that can help you now. So I'm surprised they didn't look into something like that. But I do think this season is still salvageable for the Lakers. And, Russ has to accept a lesser role. And I know that's going to be hard for him. And maybe the answer for him is he just says, you know what, I can't do this. It's best that I sit out and then I get traded in this offseason. Once again, I mentioned in the previous episode, he has a clothing brand. He has a couple of organizations and businesses he's trying to get off the ground. And it's hard as a player to use the stature that you have as a player to move your business when you're not that good of a player anymore. If he was the MVP of the league, his fashion statements and what he's wearing is going to be looked at and glamorized more than when he's not. You saw it with Cam Newton. Cam Newton's outfits used to be something that people talked about and people loved and thought was hilarious. But now that he's almost has 1 foot in and 1 foot out the league, it looks like, come on, fam, why don't you worry about throwing that spiral instead of worrying about what your fit and your outfit is? Even if he planned it months in advance, I'm the biggest Cam Newton fan there is, but that's the way that it looks. It doesn't get looked at with the same eye as it does when you're winning. Everybody loves a winner. I'm trying to start a business right now, support Title Man, support the brand, titleman.com. And one thing that I'm learning, it's easier to do things, to work with people when you're established, when you're winning. A new thing or a thing that's on the decline, you're just not going to get that love and that support. It's hard to triage what you have going and use that to power something else, or to use that to even power your thing when you're on the decline. So, maybe for him, he has to accept a lesser role, or maybe it might just be a minute to take a break for him. And I don't really buy that, he is, falling off that much as an athlete. I just think that a situation where he's not allowed to play rust ball, a situation where, you have guys clogging the paint, a situation where the defensive structure isn't there to, mask a lot of his deficiencies and his lack of awareness on things. It makes it tough, but I do think that he could still be a useful player in a situation where all those things don't apply. I was talking about him potentially getting bought out, and I don't think the Lakers would do that because they won his contract as a trading piece in this offseason. But where would he go? Who would be interested in him if he got bought out? That would be, because someone's going to be interested in him. The Knicks just lost again. Once again, check out my Knicks series. Lost to Portland, a Portland team that is missing, several key players traded. Dame Lillard out, they lost. So maybe the Knicks would be interested in that. They still have postseason aspirations. So yeah, so that I'm going to definitely probably do a video on the Lakers this week. So then look out for that. John Collins to miss some time with a foot sprain. He's the one player on their team that they can't really replace. His role threat, his just general offensive versatility, and then especially the player that he became in the postseason, the hellacious rebounder that he became, and someone who, defended pretty well and, a myriad of different players from Tobias Harris to Giannis. He really produced a lot of dividends that postseason. So they're going to miss him. We'll see. It's a foot strain, so it's more of a muscle issue than a bone issue. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly he can come back, or is this something that where he's just going to be out to the All-Star break? And let's see if they have anything. I'm guessing this is probably something that he's just going to be out to the All-Star break. Yeah, he's going to miss the 3 remaining games before the All-Star break. And I'm guessing he'll probably be back following a period of rest and treatment and daily monitoring this week. And throughout the All-Star break, his status will be updated as appropriate. So he's going to have almost 2 weeks to rest and rehab. They played last night, lost to the Spurs, lost me money as a degenerate gambler that I am, but because came out completely fat. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with that, because he's the one player that they cannot replace, and they've been playing well, and they're on the fridge of getting into the play-in game. Let's see. Right now, the Atlanta Hawks are 26-29. They are in the playoff game, but Washington Wizards are 1 game back. And like I mentioned, the Knicks are 3 games back, and these are teams that are desperately trying to get in. So they need him to come back sooner or later. And these last few games, they have until the stretch. They have Boston tomorrow, Cleveland, Orlando. If they can find a way to pull out 2 out of 3, that's a win. If they can find a way to pull out 2 out of 3, that's definitely a win. They should definitely win the Orlando one. But, in Chicago. So they have 4 games. What was that thing saying? Oh, 3 games. The Chicago game is a game off the All-Star break. Okay. So as far as bets today, came on a little bit later than expected, so it's hard for me to pull out the bets before the game start. But I definitely like Philadelphia today. I am a fan of Toronto today. The Kings are down. I took the Kings -3, so might be a money line opportunity if you like them as well. I took Memphis. Memphis up big. I would have took the Knicks, but the Knicks have already lost. And I like Miami. I think Brooklyn's about to get mowed down. Another interesting storyline, and I'll end it on this, is Brooklyn. Can they miss the playoffs? Brooklyn is losers of 10 straight games. Losers of 10 straight. And their next, let's look at Brooklyn's schedule. Losers of 10 straight. That is, yay. That is tough. Losers of 10 straight. And Kyrie, boy, that Kyrie is something else. All right, so you have at Miami, the Kings at home. So Kyrie's not going to be able to play that game. At New York, and that's New York City, but I don't know if that means that he can play that game or not. That's be interesting to see. Washington, Kyrie can't play. Toronto, Kyrie can't play. So, these guys, they're going to have to get out and start gelling as soon as possible. Like I said, the East is going to be a bloodbath this year. And for them to think that they're going to go on the road 3 straight series and win, I just think that's just fanciful. So they got to get it together and get it together quick. Ben Simmons, they're not even giving a timeline when he's going to play, when he's ramping things up. Like, you've been asking to get traded the whole time. The very least you could have done is to be in tip-top shape, ready to go, like his training camp. But it's just, once again, the guy is just super coddled. So I'm gonna put it. I've heard a lot of nonsense about them comparing Ben Simmons to Draymond Green, that he can be a Draymond Green style player, and I just think that's just so disrespectful to Dre. So I'll do a video breaking that down this week as well. So that's it for this week. I'll definitely be on tomorrow before the Super Bowl. So everybody enjoy their weekend. Stay safe. You're in the LA area. I know it's Super Bowl weekend, but it's still LA. So keep your head on a swivel. All right. Game is a game. Go.
So what's up, man? What's up with you otherwise, The game is a game. Always.